Right at it. Right at it. Oh, he's done it again. Just as he did at the John Deere for his first win.
Welcome to the fourth episode of the Go Get That podcast. This is a good week, coming off a big win in the Ryder Cup for this only the second time in the last 7 Ryder Cups, which is crazy to think. This is our second time in a row winning it on home soil, which is also good. We got to win one. We got to win one overseas. So definitely looking forward to 2023 in Rome. We'll be going over everything that really happened. I mean, there's a lot to break down. And I think we can start off with me saying that I can fully accept my L in the predictions. Europe stood no chance this week. They were never going to win that. And I don't know really what I was thinking after looking at that talent gap, but it is what it is. But I think there's another L that we have to bring up on Jordan's part. Bryson DeChambeau is who Jordan said had a 0% chance of winning this week. He's doing pretty darn well right now, which is kind of unexpected. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
well, first off, he's doing well in his group.
Yeah, but
he is doing very good in his own group, but he's still not winning anything because that Kyle Berkshire guy is just. He hit one, I think, 455 today. I think Bryson's topping out in the 410,
412,
420 range.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know much about long drives. So
I understand after getting the Ryder Cup prediction wrong that you wanted to let me hear about the long drive.
Yeah, Bob's just trying to distract you from
my Ryder Cup prediction. But good for Bryson.
Yeah.
I predicted him to have a good Ryder Cup,
and he did
well.
He did.
Him driving the first green on Sunday was honestly one of the best moments of the tournament, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So good for him. He's good for golf.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Bryson was electric this week.
Absolutely electric.
We'll get to the rankings at some point for the U.S. side.
Yeah.
He's pretty high up there for me.
Yeah.
So,
I think
to break that down.
I mean, speaking of Bryson, I think we can just start off right there about how this team came together and really showed up. I mean, a quote from Steve Stricker was, even Brooks and Bryson wanted to play together, which just showed how much they were a team. And I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I know we on this podcast we thought it was not going to be pretty, but Steve Stricker, I will give him credit, and I'm going to take a little credit away from him later in the show, but I will say I'll give him credit. He really did a good job of making this a team. Which you didn't really see. I mean, DJ and Brooks had beef before, and Brooks and Bryson, obviously. He did a good job of, I mean, I don't think Reed would have hurt us, but I definitely think going with that play of making it a locker room thing was the right one, because obviously they paid off. So,
I thought the pairings were really good all week. To be honest,
it was shocking. It was some shockers,
for sure. But everybody seemed to get along pretty well, and they all bought in, right? I mean, the Ryder Cup is becoming. This week, I think, proved that the Ryder Cup is now more meaningful to the guys on the U.S. side, which is awesome to see, because when they're motivated and ready to go, they're a tough team to beat. So hopefully they can go do it in Europe in a couple of years, but. For now, they can celebrate, because that was a dominating performance.
Yeah. As you said, in a couple of years, that's the key. It's a lot easier to win on home soil than it is across the pond. Since the three of us have been alive, we haven't won in Europe. So we'll see in 2 years. I think that'll be the telltale sign, and the European team could look a lot different in 2 years than it did this at Whistling Straits last
100%.
week. So we'll have to see.
Yeah. It's just another thing I want to go into, especially, is just the emotion that's left out on the course. I mean, this event, in my opinion, is the best one in golf. Nothing really it's really tough to compete with Masters Sunday, but I think this is right up. I think this is better. I think this is better than the Masters. I mean, unless your player's winning, I mean, this event just as someone said about Rory, I mean, it's an event that makes grown men cry, which is ridiculous because I mean, they're playing for country, they're playing for more than just themselves, which is something that you don't see in golf ever because it's not a team sport. And I don't know. I kind of want to ask, what do you think makes it so? I mean, other than the fact that they're just playing for country, I mean, I personally think it's the fact that it's the only time really where they're playing for something bigger than just themselves, which is something that you just don't see in the sport.
Yeah, I think Kyle Porter from CBS wrote a really good piece about Rory and stuff like that. So if you haven't read it, go check it out. But I think there's something about playing on a team and building those relationships with those guys. Like some of my best memories are from team sports in high school, and I have a lot of really close friends from those teams still to this day. So it's really more about the memories, even if it is an exhibition. And like you said, Bob, playing for something bigger than yourself, you know, you're playing for Europe or you're playing for the USA, but you're also playing for the guys around you. So it was really cool to see, especially Rory, because he's such a big face, be as
that was pretty cool,
emotional as he was about it. It's cool, and it adds certainly makes others feel like this is an event that is worth watching and something to get excited for in the future.
Yeah, I think Dan's spot on, honestly. It's just the team thing. I mean, these guys are all friends on the American team. You got the guys in Florida, you got the guys in Texas. I mean, they see each other at their home courses like every single day. But it's the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup. They play two events as a team. Every other week on the PGA Tour, they're playing against one another. So the ability in these cups to be able to come together and actually play as a team, it means a lot to these guys, as we could tell by just the pouring out of emotion. I mean, look at the European guys. Look at Poulter. Look at Westwood. I mean, these guys are in tears because this might be their last one. So,
yeah. And so, Jordan, what you wanted to talk about how a lot of the pre-Ryder Cup things about how the team was in shambles. There was a lot of locker room issues. You said that was blown over or overblown. But why do you think that?
They're grown men at the end of the day. So you can say Brooks and Bryson dislike each. They might still dislike each other after the Ryder Cup, for all we know, and it was all for TV, the hugging and everything. They might still dislike each other, but at the end of the day, they're grown men. They're both trying to win the Ryder Cup, as we saw Brooks and Bryson.
Yeah, they want the same thing.
Exactly. They both played some pretty good golf at Whistling Straits. I mean, they can come together as a team, as Brooks said, put things away in order for the best interest of the team. And as we saw, they did that. So I just think they're grown men. They can get over it.
Yeah, I don't even think personally, I do think that it was nice seeing Brooks and Bryson hug out. I mean, they were obviously drunk, so who knows how much that was legit. I don't think that they're completely I don't think they love each other by any means, but I think as you said, famous quote, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I mean, that they were both trying to beat the same person or both the same team. So at the end of the day, their goal is the same, and that's their job. And again, they're grown men. They can put it aside for a week. And I think they did a good job of that.
Yeah, I think some of the stuff beforehand too was a lot of the like possible tension came from maybe not assuming Patrick Reed would be there, but kind of like thinking that Reed could be there, and Brooks Bryson is this big thing that they haven't talked about. Brooks has made these comments, right? Everything seems a little chaotic. But then, you know, Spieth talked about this, about how everybody has known each other since like they've been like 12 or 13, really. With the exception of like DJ, because he's older than most of them, but like they're all really, it's obvious that they're all really comfortable with each other, and that's what makes a really great team. And Strick did a really great job of just letting them be themselves. because there's a lot of majors on this team, and
Agree with
so
that.
obviously they know how to play with some really good golf. So he's just like, I'm just gonna let them do what they do, and they came together really nicely this week as a team.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Well, I was going to say, I think we can. That is where I really want to give Stricker the most credit. Stricker, this was a style of captaining that I really haven't seen or known to have happened before, where Stricker basically said, it's very tough to get you guys to get a new routine for just 1 week. So we're going to try and keep it the same as any other week, and then just come together and play for the same pause when it comes to playing golf. And I think that there's a lot to be commended about that. And I think that played a big part in how big they won, because they felt really comfortable. I mean, as Steve Stricker said in the post-round presser about how Brooks Koepka didn't have to go to a team meeting, he could take a nap. Bryson DeChambeau could go to the range after the round, which is just something that it's their routine. And these guys have a routine every week, and to be able to replicate that as much as possible usually results in success. And I want to commend them for that. At the same time, I personally believe that this was, and I think most people agree with me, this is the best golf team ever assembled, Ryder Cup, anything. I think you could pick 12 other players in the world, no matter the country, and they would not beat this team. They were that good. And
The stats would agree with you.
yeah, I mean, they were that good. And to that point, I want to say, I'm not trying to take away from the fact of what Steve Stricker did, but the people saying that Steve Stricker is I think you give any captain this team, any captain, I think they won the Ryder Cup. So as much as I do give Steve Stricker credit for doing what he did, I think the comments about he needing to come back in 2023 because this was because we finally figured something out that worked, I don't think that's the point. I think Steve Stricker did a good job of taking care of business where he needed to, but he was not the sole reason why they won this cup. They were just the better team, and it wasn't close.
Oh, that's completely fair. I mean, this team is just stacked. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was very happy with the captain's picks. The only one I was on the fence about was Berger. I was happy with 5 of the 6. And if I'm happy with 5 of the 6, that tells you they were just easy picks to make. The team, they had the highest official world golf ranking average of any team in history. They were stacked. On Stricker's note, the one thing I just wanted to make a comment about was, I know you don't want him back in 23. I think that's fair about trying other people, having him back just because they think he was the reason they won the cup. I understand that. But I think one of the things the Ryder Cup teams have wrong in the past is having a new captain every cup. I know in the President's Cup, they'll have a captain be a captain on 3 straight teams. They'll captain 3 straight teams.
Yeah.
I think part of the
especially
problem
on the international side.
Exactly. I think one of the problems with the US is they go captain to different captain. There's no consistency. I don't know if that would be the reason we'd win more, but I always found that weird. Like, I know you're anti-Stricker in 23, but I'm thinking he's won a President's Cup. He's won a Ryder Cup now. Why not give him another go?
I'm not even anti-Stricker 2023. I think that would be something I'd be open to, having 3 straight captains. I'm just saying, the people saying that we have to bring Stricker back because that's the only way we're going to win, I don't agree with that. I think that, especially considering, even though it's overseas, if we have the same exact team in 2023, add 2 years to their life, who knows what they're going to be. But like, I can't really see a European team that's going to beat us. It's on foreign soil, but I mean, you'll have to see some serious regression on our side skill-wise for them to really have much of a shot. I mean, it's not looking good for them.
If we played at our full capabilities, we're not going to lose in Europe. I don't think so.
Yeah. That being said, though, like 2 years is a long time.
It is.
That's true.
Like 2 years ago, English was not English. Scheffler was not. He was not going to beat Rahm on Sunday. Morikawa
was in college.
Yeah, he was not a 2-time major champion. 3-0-1 in the Ryder Cup. Like, Europe, I think Europe will find some dudes, and they they will be ready to play because it's on home soil, right? Like the US had a really young team this year, but it helped being in Whistling Straits in with the fans supporting them. And Europe could have 4, 5, 6 rookies in 2023, and they could, maybe do the same thing, right? Like I think the it's hard to project 2 years into the future, but certainly right now the US seems to have their group of, I'd say, probably 11 guys that I think will be there in 2023.
Who's the one you don't have there?
Maybe 10. So English and Berger, I think, are the guys that like they're kind of in the future. I see them being as fringe Ryder Cuppers. And if there's like another young US guy that makes a big move these next 2 years, I could see them going with that. Although experience does play in Europe, and obviously Patrick Reed will want to be back on this team. Horshaw, there's going to be people that'll make a push for the team in 2023. But I think they've got their core.
I want to disagree with you on a take about Harris English. I don't think he had the best week this week. I think a little bit was overblown because as whatever you want to say about his record, I think you need to take – I'm not saying you didn't care. I think you have to take the singles match very lightly. I mean, the Cup was over and he was like this third to last match, and he wasn't playing for something like Spieth was, where like Spieth really wanted to get that chip off his shoulder with the no singles wins. Harris English was just his first Cup. They just won the Ryder Cup when he was on like the 13th hole. He was winning at that point, and he kind of let it get away from him at the end, and he put in the water on 18. You can say what you want, but I think he is a future, like, low-key stud. I think that he is going to win. I think he's going to win a major in the future. I think he's always in contention. And I don't say that very often because I do think that you say that people are going to win majors way too often. I think that people are like, yeah, I think Xander's going to get 3. I think Morikawa is going to get to like 4 or 5. I mean, that right there is 2 years worth of majors right there. And I think they really overuse it. But I do think Harris English is going to win a major, not only because of the fact that he's ice and he's very mentally in it, but he's always there, especially in U.S. Opens. I mean, he's always in contention, and we really start to see it this year. He wasn't a big name at all, but he consistently was top 10 in the world since the U.S. Open last year. Like, not this year, last year at Wingfoot. And he's just low-key been very, very solid. And eventually he's going to catch fire because as I saw him at the Travelers, I mean, that guy makes putts when he needs to. I mean, he made a 30-footer on the 18th hole to force a playoff. I mean, he's not the greatest golfer in the world, and I think that there are going to be a lot of people that are better golfers than him that will win less majors. But I do think he'll win a major just because of the fact that he's always right there. He's consistent, he's solid, and he's going to find a week where he gets the job done. So I do think he'll be in future Ryder Cups. Berger, I agree with you on that one, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to discredit English's play this year because he's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
I just think that it's really hard to win tour events, right? Like it just in general it is. And he won 2. Yeah. Probably should have had 3 at the WGC at Memphis. I could see him winning a major for sure, and that would bump him up into the Ryder Cup rankings and on the team for sure at that point. But the thing about English and Berger and why I kind of lumped them together is because they don't have that. I feel like their name brand isn't quite as big.
I agree.
They don't have a name. And they, if they win a major, they'll have that name brand. But the rest of the guys either have a major or
Scheffler made his name brand this weekend.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That. Like Scotty Scheffler will be, unless, he has a 2019 Spieth, run, will probably be on the next Ryder Cup team. Xander's always around in majors. Cantlay needs to show up in majors, but I feel like at some point he'll make enough putts 1 week to win because he just makes everything.
And I fully believe that this week, considering he has never won, this week was probably Scottie Scheffler's biggest win of his life. I mean,
for sure.
just that one match was bigger than any tournament he's won before. Because he's never won on the PGA Tour, but that single-handedly made a name brand for him. I mean, he beat the number one player in the world handily. I mean, Rahm kind of made a name for himself by beating Tiger, and he wasn't even the best player. But like, if you catch the right guy and you catch fire and you beat them, I mean, you make a name for yourself.
Yeah, gives you a lot of confidence too.
Just a little plug in our group chat with the three of us. I did say that Scotty would give Rahm a fight in that singles match.
Yeah, and I
didn't think he'd win, but I knew Scotty's a fighter.
Scotty's a fighter. He's clutch.
He's good.
Yeah. He's good in match play.
I mean, what he birdied the first 4 holes in that match.
Yeah.
You're calling us
Whistling Straits was awesome.
Great venue.
You could birdie pretty much every hole if you hit 2 really good shots or 1 or whatever. But at the same time, like you could make a 5 or
kind of like we were talking about on the live pod. What Jet was saying was, I love how the misses were around the greens, where like you could have a slight overdraw and you'd be like 30 feet below the green.
Yeah.
Like you can get away with misses off the tee as long as they're in the right spots, but because the first and second cuts weren't that tall. It's when you get into the fescue in the lower areas. But I mean, if you miss any of those greens to mostly the left, you're in big trouble. I mean, there's a chance you're going to have no shot to get up and down, which I think is really
unless
cool.
if you're Jordan Spieth left of 17.
Unless if you're Jordan Spieth left 17. But we've become accustomed to that.
Didn't get the down part though. Thanks, JT.
Yeah, thanks, JT. Another thing I want to say about future players, I feel like a lot of it again is unknown because of the fact that, I mean, look at what happened to Jordan Spieth in 2 years. Jordan Spieth in 2 years went from a dominant player to 60th ranked in the world approximately, and then another 2 years later is right back there on top of leaderboards. I mean, anything can happen in 2 years. We could see Morikawa not on the team in 2 years. I mean, who knows? But obviously that's not what we want, because I love Morikawa, but
we love Colin.
No,
he was a stud this week too.
Yeah. Do we want to go into who do we have as the best and worst players? We can even go into the list right now.
We can go ahead and do that. I'll go first.
Do you want to start with? Let's start with Europe, because I don't think anyone has European rankings.
I don't.
I don't either. But I just want to talk about. I think obviously Rahm was the best. I think Sergio had a great week, even though he was carried in a few matches. But again, at that age, to be able to contribute how he did was pretty impressive. Who else? I had someone else in my mind that I thought Lowry had a great week.
He should have played more.
That was good for him.
Lowry had 2 pretty bad losses, but one of them he caught a hot Patrick Cantlay, and the other one he played with Rory McIlroy. So I mean, what are you gonna do?
He also,
that was pretty cool.
Similar to Scheffler, he had like a moment,
Exactly.
People are there's Shane Lowry right there, and he's already
Did you
got
guys
a
see
major
the picture of his dad celebrating behind that putt?
Yeah,
that was awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, Lowry, say what you want. I've never thought he's the greatest golfer in the world. I think that he was I never really thought of him as a great golfer. I thought that he was like kind of a 1 week wonder when he won at Portrush, I like the guy. I'm a fan, especially from Irish descent. I mean, you could just tell he's a nice guy, and he's got passion.
He's hilarious.
It's tough to root for him in Ryder Cup week, but on non-Ryder Cup weeks.
I think the most unfortunate thing about Lowry is he didn't get down on 17 to go play that shot out of the crap down there.
Yeah. It did. I mean, there was some booze. There was some booze. But yeah, we can go into the list. Yeah, you can go first, Jordan.
I will get us started. I have a feeling most of our list will be similar, but so I got DJ first, which I think we're probably all universal on.
Yep.
Morikawa second.
Yep.
Cantlay 3, Bryson 4, Xander 5, Scotty 6, JT 7, Brooks 8, Tony 9, Berger 10, Spieth 11, Harris 12.
Yeah. Dan, you can go.
I have DJ 1. That's pretty obvious, 5-0. I have Cantlay ahead of Morikawa only because I guess partly because he won his singles match pretty convincingly too. And Morikawa was good, but I thought don't get me wrong, Morikawa was awesome this week, but I thought Cantlay was really cool as well. And Morikawa played with DJ, so it's a little tough to like they were unbeatable, but I thought Cantlay kind of not carried Xander, but he was the better of the two. Then I have Scotty 4 just because he beat John Rahm pretty good on Sunday, and that was pretty awesome. Bryson 5 because he's perfect for home Ryder Cups. We'll see how he does in Europe. That might kind of go south. But then I have Brooks 6, and this might this is a little bit of like I had pretty low expectations for Brooks this week, and he actually played really well.
He had to play with Jordan too, so
he did a good job of not being a problem, which shouldn't give you bonus points, but for Brooks Koepka this week, for me, it gave him some bonus points. I have Xander 7 because I felt like Rory he didn't play that great, and then he kind of beat him on Sunday. And Xander was good. He was fine this week. But he's not the most electric guy, so it's tough to be like, oh man, Xander was on fire out there, and he was super fun to watch this week. JT 8, he was good. I mean, not much more to say about that. He brought the fire.
Yeah.
Berger 9, he paired well with Brooks. He was pretty shaky in their second match together.
Yeah.
And he kind of got lucky in his singles, I guess. Fitzpatrick kind of gave it to him down the stretch, but he was really solid this week. And then I have Spieth 10, and then Finau, and then English.
Yeah. Well, so I did my list a little bit different. I didn't really do it based on how I thought people played, because in the end, in the Ryder Cup, that's not that important because it's how much. So I kind of did it more of a how much they contributed and / how well they stood up to their expectations. Because again, I mean, could you replace some people with other people and have got the same points kind of like situation? So I had DJ 1 and then Morikawa 2. Those two were legendary all week. And even that final, who do you tie in this in singles?
Morikawa,
Hovland. I mean, they went back and forth all day. I mean, it's not like Morikawa played bad.
Yeah, that was a fun match.
It was a good match.
It was a good match. I'm going to go with number 3 at Xander Schauffele. And my reason for this is because as much as he had a bad singles, he was really, really good in the team play. I mean, he carried Patrick Cantlay that first match. That second match, him and Dustin, I mean, I guess Dustin kind of did some heavy lifting there, but I mean, Xander still was deadly. He was making a lot of putts all week. And he just played really well in the team play. And I think in the end, that says a lot. Being a rookie, I get he had some jitters, especially that missed putt on 1 on the singles, but that's why I'm there. 4, I have Scotty. Scotty's win against Rahm, I feel like, was more contributory than just that 1 point. I think for the players to look up there on Sunday and see the number 1 in the world losing big, that was kind of their like, all right, not really this is over, but let's kind of take it to him. I mean, this is our sign that we don't longer really have to worry about getting to 14.5. Let's get even further than that. I think that just said a lot about where they were. I think that just gave them a lot of motivation because of, I mean, and not to mention Scotty played very well in the team play as well. I mean, what was his record? I have it right here. 2-0-1. He didn't lose.
Yeah,
he didn't lose. And that tie was, again, not a bad tie at all. Number 5, I have Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, what a great week for Bryson. I mean, he tied that first one, but after that, I mean, he's the one player that I feel like shouldn't have played more, that played well and only played 2. Bryson's not meant for foursomes. I think it was smart to play him in the both 4 balls and then the singles. I think that was the right play, and it worked out. I mean, he didn't lose, and it worked out really well. 6, I have Patrick Cantley. I get a lot of people think that he played really well, and I agree with that, especially in the singles. But in team play, he did kind of get lift. I mean, he got some major help from Justin Thomas in that second match, and even Friday was not his best day, even though they won handily. Even though they won handily in the first one and tied the second one. Cantley's partners helped him out that first day, so I'm not really going to contribute much of those 2 wins to him. Or I think the second one was a tie, but 7, I have Justin Thomas. Say what you want about how he was putting. He contributed a lot to this team. I mean, he hit good shots when he needed to. I get that first day, but the first day is not as important as latter. And when it came down the stretch, he showed up, especially those 2 eagles for not only Saturday morning but Friday night. Those are some clutch shots. And he really helped get Spieth to the finish line, especially since Spieth kind of struggled down to the last, even though they both played really well in that Saturday thing. I don't think JT carried him by any means, but Spieth kind of fell off at the end. So yeah, I have JT at 7. 8, I have Brooks Koepka. Brooks was kind of his record. Again, Jordan Spieth, I think, is a single-handed reason they lost that second match. I think Brooks Koepka played really well and on the back 9 there. So, yeah, I have him there. 9, I have Tony Finau. Again, the singles match loss was not great, especially since that one was a little earlier. It was Ian Poulter, but that first win was big. I mean, they won pretty handily, and I'm going to give credit. I mean, Finau played better than English, but English also contributed to that. Even though they didn't take his score much, he made a lot of clutch pars when they needed him to. And I think Finau played really well this week. I think as much as the record didn't really show it, he didn't have the hottest day Saturday, but it was a good week for Finau, I feel like. 10, I have Daniel Berger. He didn't really contribute much, but he got 2 points. And again, at the end, if you get 2 points, that is contributing, especially since you won the singles. And so now the last 2, I'm going to put them at a tie. Jordan Spieth and Harris English, I think, contributed the least to this team. I don't think it's fair to put English ahead of Spieth just because of the fact that Jordan Spieth got 1.5 points and Harris English got 1. But let's face Jordan Spieth coming into this week was coming off a really good season and was expected a lot more than 1.5 points. I feel like he was a major disappointment this week. As much as I think that Jordan, the putter was really what let him down. I think to only put 1.5 points on the board, not only for us, but for himself, I feel like he looks at that as a disappointment. So I'm going to put it as a tie. I'm not going to say one's worse than the other, but Mr. Spieth contributed a lot in the locker room, but when it came out to the golf course, I don't think it was the week he wanted, but we'll leave it at that.
Certainly. I'm sure he's disappointed, but
yeah,
I think it's tough because if he ran into Rahm twice, right?
Yeah.
And that's like you're running into a meat grinder, right?
I also
like you have not much of a chance. Yeah. And to be fair, like he missed a lot of putts this week.
Yeah. And I think
to say that he didn't contribute more than English when I think he just played better than Harris English this week.
And I agree with the fact that he played it better. And I think that personally, I think he played best Friday morning. I think that was when he played the best golf, which is really disappointing because JT couldn't hold a thing. But again, in terms of contribution, you got to get the point, and he didn't, which sucked because I really thought that I think that if they win that match, if JT holds a few more putts, I think the Ryder Cup for Jordan Spieth is very different. I think not only does sitting him in the afternoon because he would have been sat anyways, I think that gives him a lot more motivation. I mean, to win and then get sat definitely gives you a lot of motivation. I mean, you're hungry to get back out there. It's a different motivation because obviously when you lose, you want to get back out there to redeem yourself as well. But that Friday morning hurt because I think Jordan Spieth would be looking at a very different record right now.
Yeah, I thought the most disappointing thing was Sunday, honestly, because I know
I agree.
From a tracking standpoint, he played really good on Sunday.
Yeah.
And Tommy Fleetwood made 2 or 3 20, 30 plus foot putts. And if he doesn't make those putts, Jordan Spieth has a win in singles and a cup. So it was.
I'm not gonna lie.
Sunday was frustrating. I mean, the cup was won. He's fist pumping like he's about to win a tournament at the 16th. The cup's already won. He really wanted it Sunday.
And I think that what made it really disappointing was until like the 12th or 13th hole, it didn't really feel like that was going any other direction but a win. Like it felt like Jordan Spieth had it the entire time, even when he was all square on like 9. It felt like he was always going to win the match. Mm-hmm. Just because I mean that was kind of how the vibes were all day, though. I mean, the United States is killing everyone. We're finding a way to win everything. It was disappointing. I know I was pretty gutted. More gutted than I probably should have been after winning 19-9 in the Ryder Cup. But
I mean, he birdied 17 and he tied that hole.
Yeah, that was rough.
I mean,
that was so clutch, though. That was so clutch.
Yeah, he made a big putt there.
Yeah, that was big. But yeah, I agree.
Spieth certainly left a lot out there and result-wise, but I just think, I don't know, English was kind of uninspiring this week in general, and I think Finau kind of the same thing. I mean, Thursday matches are a big deal, right? Because they set the tone. So, or not Thursday, Friday. Those, like, they were good on Friday, but you know, were they the only 2 losses in singles on Sunday? Or no?
Ooh, I think it was
English and
Xander.
English
and
Xander too.
English, Xander.
I guess I just have a lot more weight in the Sunday singles because I think it's the only like direct how are you playing this week without involving
I think Bob
team.
and I were the opposite.
And I get it. You know, it was kind of out of reach at that point, but I mean, English lost to Lee Westwood. So
he gave it away too, to be fair. Yeah.
That's kind of, not a great look, but who cares? Whatever. 19.
As Phil would say, we won the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's really all, and that's all Spieth cares about, I'm sure. And as Xander said in the presser, it's the fastest I've ever got over a loss because, again, in the end, they're trying. I'm not saying it didn't hurt for Spieth to not win that. I'm sure he really wanted that, but, and I'm sure he wanted that for the simple reason he wanted to contribute to his team even more. It wasn't just that, but in the end they won, and I think he's happy with that.
Yeah. Speaking of Jordan, I'm sure you guys saw it, but his quote on Rome in 2 years was awesome.
What did he say? Oh,
he
the one about
basically like how it
unfinished business.
Exactly, basically unfinished business, which was just awesome.
No,
he's all business.
He's all business. He wants it bad
never
though.
won in Europe, so
it's kind of funny how he's like 28, but he's like the adult on the team.
I feel like he's
any sense?
I mean, I feel like he's more of an adult-ish than DJ. I don't think DJ's really got that leader capability. DJ's more sit back, but man, when he's drunk, he's quite an entertainment.
That press conference was definitely telling, right? Like you could see how much those guys had bought into the week and cared about each other and cared about how the team played. And it's cool to see these other sides to people.
Yeah, I agree.
These professionals.
They opened up a lot more, yeah. A lot, especially the quiet guys like Cantlay,
In the press
even
conference?
Xander.
Yeah.
Just
In the
good to
press
see.
conference, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as in the press conference, you mean?
Just like overall, I mean, you see
Yeah.
Xander chugging a beer, like
Yeah, well, I mean, I this is like one of my favorite quotes of all time from Riggs is what was it? A drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts. So like they're all thinking the same thing, but they really when I that's what I really like about seeing that side of them in the press conferences when they've had a few drinks. It's just like they're more like themselves because when they're all business, you never really see that side of them because they have to be so professional. And I mean, it's cool to see because they are human after all.
Yeah. I think that's part of the reason I had Cantlay so high on my list is because it was cool to see Patrick Cantlay get fired up, just rolling putt after putt. But
yeah.
All right. Well, one thing I wanted to discuss was the JT Spieth pairing and why I don't think that should happen again in foursomes. I'm fine with it in four ball, and I think it's perfect for four ball because they're two good friends and they contemplate each other's games well. The thing that sold it for me this week was on 5 when Jordan Spieth had like 255 into the wind. And JT asked Jordan what he wanted to do. And no, Jordan asked JT what he wanted him to do because JT was hitting the next shot. And he was like, just do whatever you're comfortable with. And I feel like that rubbed off on me as a friend not wanting to tell another friend the wrong thing. And I feel like if you're in foursomes and you have a shot over water, you need to tell them what you're most comfortable with if you're hitting the next shot. And I think JT would rather be 80 yards out than 50 yards long of the green or having a tough up and down when water's also in play. I mean, JT is completely fine from 80 yards. And I think you got to vocalize that. And I didn't love that. I don't think that would happen with Patrick Reed. And I just think I don't love the idea of them playing foursomes. I've never been high on it, but
sorry, Jordan. I do have a thought on them playing foursomes. And it's interesting because they didn't play four ball this week, which is what everybody expected them to do. But that being said, I think they played foursomes because Stricker felt more comfortable rolling out them over the other pairings of Finau English and Scotty Bryson. Yeah. Scotty Bryson won. Bryson in a foursome is just tough, and they're both. And Scotty's a rookie. Bryson, a second time Ryder Cupper, and then kind of the same thing with Finau English is like English is a rookie. Finau's only a second time Ryder Cupper. Didn't play a ton in Europe, right? So they're not the most experienced guys, and there's a lot of pressure playing in foursomes because it's your shot, right? It's like there's no relying on your partner to go make a birdie or a par or whatever to bail you out. So I think just rolling out the Spieth and JT made Stricker feel more comfortable. But I agree that I think in Europe we probably won't see a JT Spieth foursome.
I'll go ahead. I don't know. I don't put the amount of stock that you do into it, Bob, about the fifth hole scene. I will fully agree that I'd much rather see them in four ball than foursome though.
Yeah.
I fully agree with that. I don't really know why they didn't play four ball. I get what Dan's saying. It does make sense because it's just the way it played out because they had foursome first on Friday morning. So it makes sense to send out Spieth and JT first. So that makes sense. And I think in Rome, it'll be different. I think four ball will be first. As far as my knowledge is aware, I think four ball will be first. So it'll make sense to send Spieth and JT out again. And yeah, that's my thought on it. I'm not a big fan of the Spieth JT foursome. Four ball, yes. Foursome, I think there's someone better to complement JS.
Yeah. And the other Spieth pairing of the week was obviously Koepka. And what do we think Stricker saw in that? I mean,
I have no clue.
I don't. That shocked me.
I'm not
My
against it, I
No,
guess,
I
but
was
just
for
didn't
it.
see it coming at all.
No, I saw that as the least of the possible situations.
Yeah, my best bet is just resting pattern, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
it
think that
was JT Cantlay Friday afternoon. Like I think there was
Yeah.
just that's how Stricker maneuvered it
But
to
I
get
think
Spieth into the
even
four
then,
ball.
I think if they wanted to, I think the better one would be Brooks, Bryson, Scheffler, Spieth, right? I mean, that's what if they wanted to
Yeah.
play together.
I don't know if you want to break up Scheffler Bryson though after they played well on Friday.
Fair.
But again, it's 4 ball, so it's not as much. I feel like it's not as much.
True. Yeah, but you don't.
It's 4 ball.
Yeah,
but if they have the chemistry, then yeah,
right. And it's not a big deal
Yeah.
for Spieth and Brooks to go out there and
No,
play.
yeah, they're too.
I'm still upset we didn't see Spieth Bryson.
I am too.
That would have been so much fun.
That would be a fun 4 ball.
Now, Bryson gained a lot of fans this week.
For sure. He had a great week.
He had a great week.
We talked about it on the preview pod about how like he had a chance to get a lot of people on his side this week, and I think he did that. Will it carry into the far into the future? Who knows, right? Like he could say his driver sucks again, and everybody could flip back on him. So
he drove the ball great this week, by the way.
Yeah, his driver does not suck anymore, or at least right now.
I think he'll be good with the fans from now on. I think the only place he might get a little bit of hate is New York, just because the people up there are rowdy. But I don't really see or envision him getting the amount of hate that he's gotten going forward. I mean, I still think he'll get Brooksy, but I think he views it differently now, to be honest.
No, yeah, I agree.
I don't think he'd care unless if he's hitting, of course, like a bad shot. He's hitting it all over the place, and people are just being jerks about it.
And again, yeah, I mean, when Brooks lost the playoff at Caves, I mean, at that point, like, just stop. Like, don't. I mean, he's obviously not happy about the round. I mean, yelling that in that situation, I feel like could get him annoyed. But again, I agree. I don't think we'll see as much hate.
I don't find it fun. I don't find it cool.
No.
I mean, dude loses a playoff and you're just verbally abused. I mean, I don't care if he just won $1 million. I mean, he's a perfectionist at what he does. You don't have to be a jerk to the guy.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
This is something that I don't think we really talking about, but I've seen this it's been a back and forth between the United States and the Euros, where the American fans this week. What are your guys' takes on that? I personally think the Euros need to live a little. I think that they need to. I don't like yelling in backswings. That's too far. And I don't like verbally abusing Rory's wife. That's too far. You're going to get that everywhere you go. You're going to get those bad apples, I feel like. But for the most part, I think with the Ryder Cup, the way that it's designed and the atmosphere it is, I'm okay with cheering for bad shots in this one event. Like, I think that's a really cool part of it. I don't think that's a problem at all.
No,
because you get on the other side too, and I'm totally okay with it. Like, I'm not against that.
Yeah, to our European audience, don't take this personally, but some of the stuff I was seeing on Twitter and Instagram about, he's yelling, get in the bunker. That's so live a little. It's the Ryder Cup. It's supposed to be fun. I'm fully against personal abuse.
100%. I 100%.
About Rory's wife, something
said
about her. That's completely uncalled for. Throw the fan off the premises. There's that shouldn't be in the game. But yelling, get in the bunker, get in the water. First of all, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
You think the players care? I don't think the Europeans cared at all. Unless it gets personal or they're getting cussed at repeatedly. I really don't think the Europeans could care less.
Because the same thing happens in Europe. The same thing happens in Europe. Like it or not, they never make a big deal of it, and we don't make a big deal of it because we don't care. I get that the Euros kind of care and they're all proper and whatever, but you're going to get that both sides. Like, we're okay if they're doing it too. Like in Europe, I'm fine with someone saying, go get in the bunker to Jordan Spieth's ball. Like, whatever. It's the Ryder Cup.
I don't think it helped when they were getting their butts kicked too. I think the
No,
tolerance
yeah,
was
I
a little
agree.
bit lower.
Yeah, tolerance level was lower.
Yeah, I think
Like, yeah.
if you thought this week was bad, wait till Bethpage.
Exactly.
That's
Thought on
true.
that.
Bethpage will be
Especially since
wild.
the crowds were here. You couldn't get as close to the greens and
Right.
stuff. At Bethpage, it's going to be packed. Like packed in around the greens. I mean, that 18th green is going to have people 10 feet off the green in that final.
That's a
final
massive
match.
property. There will be a lot more people at Bethpage than there was at Whistling Straits as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think when Rahm put that in the bunker on Saturday on the 12th hole and the place erupted, I thought that was so cool. I thought that was electric. I mean, that was awesome. I mean, just because of the fact that like the fans aren't hearing the guy on the telecast saying, "Oh, it's going a little right." It looks like it's right at the hole from their angle. So to see it land in the bunker and then have everyone just go crazy at the same time, like that's really cool. And it's the Ryder Cup. I feel like that's just something you don't get to see anywhere else in any other golf event.
And just to add,
I'm all for it.
I think the cheer we heard there was in a way a little bit of like a respect thing, because people know Jon Rahm is the number one player.
Absolutely.
In the world. He doesn't hit bad shots.
Exactly.
So I don't think the cheer would have been as loud if it was Lee Westwood who's struggling. Whereas
Agreed,
Jon Rahm,
100%.
I mean, he flushes everything. He should have won 3 tournaments this year. It's Jon Rahm getting respect in a sense by the.
That's a great take.
Booing.
That's a great take.
I guess the last thing I have to add to this is just, the cheering for bad shots, like it is what it is. But I think just, not making it personal and then everything else is fine.
Right?
Yeah,
100%.
Because at the end of the day, these are just people in an arena and they're entertaining the fans.
Yes,
right. Like
correct.
you are paying to watch these people play golf.
Yeah.
And like I said, like they're people, they're humans, they have feelings, and saying something that is attacking them personally it's just a
completely
really
uncalled for. Completely uncalled for.
But cheering for a shot in the bunker or not a great putt, it's just like, whatever. My friends cheer when I hit a bad shot for playing a match. Like it's just kind of like that's how competition works, I feel like.
Yeah, so just so everyone's on the same page, I completely agree. Personal stuff uncalled for, but everything else I'm all for.
As long as it's not egregious too.
Yeah, like I mean, if Jon Rahm just made a bogey to lose the hole, don't heckle him on the way to the next tee.
Yeah, just say nice
I'm going to be happy
or whatever.
My American.
But you can cheer if they miss a 5-footer for par. I mean, we saw it all day with Hovland. I mean, Hovland could make it.
Yeah, he made Spieth look like he was filling it up.
Exactly. And we'll talk about Spieth's putting later, but
not to mention if Jordan was missing all those putts in Europe, the European fans would be going crazy. Euros, Jordan in Europe, we know that.
Yeah. So now I think we take a look into the future. And to say the least, the American side is looking a lot brighter than the Euro side. I mean, I'll let you guys start with this, but in terms of the futures of both teams, what are your takes?
I'm pretty much on the same page as Dan. I think 10 of 12 or something in that area, they're set. Barring any injuries or any complete fall-offs, I think the U.S. team, per usual, is going to be very, very difficult to make. So I think a lot of those spots are solidified, and it's just a very difficult team to make. I mentioned it in the preview. I want to see Will Zalatoris at a Ryder Cup, so I'm crossing my fingers that he learns how to putt a little bit more, just because I think he would be really fun to root for in a Ryder Cup. World-class ball striker, kind of like Colin. And just looking at the European side, there is a lot of question marks. One, we don't know if the old guys want to come back. We don't know if they want to participate. I assume Poulter will probably be back for another, but Westwood will be turning.
Westwood's done. Call it Casey's
49.
done. Casey's done.
Yeah, I think Westwood's not even gonna be good enough to qualify for the team. No offense to Lee, but
No.
I don't know where they're gonna go. They have the Højgaard brothers. They got
Guido.
Garrett Higo, he's an international. Look what I'm talking
Guido.
about. But
That
got
Guido
Guido,
guy's kind of good from what I've
Migliozzi,
seen.
yeah, he played well on the US Open.
Yeah.
Robert
McIntyre.
McIntyre. As an American, though, I love
Yeah.
the sound of those names. I won't lie.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting. It's
Yeah.
2 years away. It's very hard to win on European soil, but from an American standpoint, I like how we're looking.
Yeah.
And another thing, I think the Euros are going to be hungry. As much as, as hungry as you are, if this is how it looks in 2023, they're not going to win. But if the teams get a little bit closer and they kind of have some studs come up in the next few years, they want to win badly. They do not want to lose back-to-back, and they do not want to lose on their home soil. So the people like Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry are not going to want to lose again. Those guys are going to be passionate, and they're going to give their heart and sweat to the 2023 Ryder Cup. So
yeah, it's tough to project Europe, right? It was two or I guess 3 years ago, it was kind of tough to project USA as well. Like, is Tiger going to be there? Phil, was Kuchar there? Maybe like there were just some weird up in the air. I think the US is pretty solidified. But Jordan mentioned Zalatoris, he could be there. Burns could be there. I think if Matt Wolff is in the right mind space, headspace, he could get back because he's uber talented. So, these guys they still have to earn their way back onto the team. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The US has a lot of talent, though.
It's going to be a much hard, and I think there's a good chance that for that exact reason, as much as we think it's going to be, there's a good chance we don't see as large of a chunk as we think, just because the talent gap's so small. If Patrick Reed plays his way back onto the team and we get two new studs come up, like Morikawa, like a new Morikawa, then, there are going to be some good names that get left off that team. And we kind of saw it this year with Reed getting left off. Because he was 9th in the standings. I get he was sick, but there's some good names.
You could make a case for 5 dudes in the US that could make a Ryder Cup team in the next 2 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
right.
It'll be interesting, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but we should be going back to the normal standings as well. It'll be 9 that auto qualify, and then I believe 3 that are captain's picks, right? Because we're past COVID.
I
think it's 8
think
and 4.
It's 8 and 4, but
It's 8 and 4.
It's 9 and 3 for the President's Cup. But
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure the captains can choose the format. Like how many they
I
pick.
assume
I
it'll
like
be less
6
than
and
6
6.
captain's picks this time
I assume
around.
it will be 2, but I also think that on the European side, I think it will be more. Because I think the European side is going to need to pick their team more to face. The European side could have picked a much stronger team. I feel like you replace Rose with Casey or Weisberger. That's going to get more points than. Those are 2 goose eggs on the board that Rose is going to get probably 2 points for.
I disagree with Casey. Casey was a stud this year. Casey deserved to be on that team for sure. Weisberger, I could see that. But Paul Casey was around at the US Open. He won in Dubai maybe earlier in January. He hit the ball great this year. He played some really good golf. So he should be there.
Yeah.
I'll side with Dan there too. I think Casey's not in the old man tier that Poulter, Sergio, and Westwood are in.
Not yet.
Casey's, in my opinion, like age-wise, just a tier below that. I think he's got at least one more cup.
Come
for
Beth
as long as
Page, he'll
playing
be
well.
in that group.
What'd you say?
I said come Beth Page, he'll be in that group. Or,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I'm already like
That's for sure.
salivating over Beth Page. That's gonna be such a
It'll be
sick cup.
fun.
gonna be sick.
That's
It'll
gonna be
fun.
such. I'm gonna try to go to that one, for sure.
We're near the same area, so yeah, I think hopefully we'll be able to meet up in 4 years and
Absolutely, that would
have
be
a
so good.
fun time at Beth Page. but
Absolutely.
We gotta worry about 2 years first.
Yeah. All right. So President's Cup is the next team event. What are we thinking? Are we thinking it's 1 year away? It's the same weekend, I think, just 1 year ahead of us. 9 auto qualifiers. Spieth currently ranked 9th. 3 captains picks. Which is good and bad. I think the point system is very different, and Spieth is going to drop pretty low because of him not playing. Like he'll probably drop to like 10 or 11. But again, he's going to need to play well next year anyways. And even if he's anywhere around there, he's going to get a captain's pick just because, again, he brings a lot to the team room. But yeah, I'm looking
At
forward
Quail
to
Hollow,
it.
right?
At
Yeah.
Quail Hollow, which is not my favorite golf course. I don't love Quail Hollow by any means.
That's 5 points for JT though. Right
Yeah,
off the
that's
bat.
true.
So-
What I will say, I do think this international team coming up is going to be stronger than the Euro team this year.
Agreed.
They could be.
I think
for
it's
sure.
good. I think the talent is getting a little closer between these two, and we kind of got a glimpse of that. Granted, we played god awful golf the first 3 days at the President's Cup last year, or 2 years ago. But I think it was kind of a hint of what we were getting. I mean, the competition is just getting stronger. I mean, South African boys of Hago and Louis. We got some really good Asians up and coming. I mean, with Sung Jae Im, Siwoo Kim, Answer in Mexico,
Corey Connors.
Connors. If Connors can learn to putt, I mean, Neiman. The international
solid team.
It's a solid team. It's a solid team of like middle ground names that could give the U.S. fits in 1 week. Like in just 1 week, they could give the United States fits. I mean, they don't have
Mark Leishman as well, but Mark
Leishman,
Leishman, Cam Smith.
Yeah,
it's a stacked team. I'm not going to say I know it's still a year away, but I'm not going to say the U.S. could lose. But it's not impossible if that international team has a really good week that it could happen.
Where are we?
I know it's far-fetched, but that international team is way better than the European team that we just played.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we'll see. It's still a year away. We'll see who's in form coming in, but it's a long way to go.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to it though, because if there's one thing, I mean, we haven't had a team event in a while, like 2.5 years or a year and a half. And it got me the itches back. I can't wait for the President's Cup because it's going to be, I love the team events. They're so sick. You only get them once a year. So especially playing for country. There's no doubt that the President's Cup is a step below the Ryder Cup, but it's still a lot of fun.
And if the internationals continue to get better, it'll just continue to elevate itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah,
it'll be fun. I like Quail Hollow more than you do, Bob. I like a tough golf course.
I've just never been a fan of the design.
Yeah, I think a lot of those international players have played well on tough golf courses as well. So that'll be interesting.
Sung Jae Im plays great because he doesn't miss fairways. The longer the rough, the better for Sung Jae Im.
Leishman plays well at Torrey, a tough golf course. Cam Smith plays good anywhere. I mean, it'll be fun.
No, it'll be a blast. Yeah. All right. I think it's question time. So Jordan, we'll let you go first this time. People sent a few questions in. I got a few too.
Yeah, I got a couple. One was thoughts on Jordan's layoff coming up in the next few months. I'll give my take first, and if you guys want, you can just piggyback off of me. I think it's good. Again, the baby takes precedent over anything. I won't lie. I really wish you would have played at least once in the fall for some FedEx Cup points, but Baby is a lot more important than FedEx Cup points and the money that comes with that. Jordan's already loaded. He doesn't need any money, that's for sure. I think we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about it in a past pod or if we just chatted about it on the side. His ball striking is in pretty solid form right now.
Yeah.
And the putting is what needs work. You can work at home on putting. You can't really work as much on ball striking at home. Putting's something he can go in the living room and work on.
Especially since his putting problems right now are like he's not hitting his lines.
Exactly.
His stroke needs work.
Yeah, he doesn't look comfortable.
No, I mean that push.
Pop the baby on the floor.
Yeah.
Roll putts, baby.
Yeah, that putt on like the 6th hole with Koepka. I mean, that was a dead. I mean, he needed to start that left edge, and he started outside right. I mean, it was a blatant push.
The strokes. Yeah, I got another question about putting that we'll get. I guess I could get into it now. Well, you guys give your thoughts on just the time off.
Dan, you can go first.
I think it'll be good. I mean, he definitely geared his ball striking up for the Ryder Cup, right? So he was going to come into this week hitting it well. I think the rest in general will be good because it was a long season, right? Like he went through a lot of kind of emotional twists and turns and Sundays and close calls and he was dealing with that wrist a little bit too. So just take 3 months, gain some perspective, and come out firing in January, and he'll be ready to go come January.
My take on it is, again, I think it's great for him. I mean, this is the first time in Jordan's life since probably 10 years old where for the rest of his life, golf is going to become the second most important thing in his life. Or more importantly, not the first. And I think that's a good thing, personally. I think it's going to make him really happy. I think he's going to be really happy, and that is good for his golf game. In terms of the layoff, I would have liked him to play the Zozo just because it's free FedEx Cup points. But at that point, if he plays that event, he doesn't care about the event. So I'm okay with him skipping it, because if all he wants to do is be with his wife, then I'm fine with that. FedEx Cup points can wait. He talked about last season how he really wanted to get in front of the FedEx Cup points in the fall. And he did that, and he had a really good season. And I think he's back where he wants to be with exception to the putting. And I think he can work on that at home while still being a good husband, a good father, and like staying home, taking care of the baby. So I think the layoff's smart, and I think it's good for him. And I think he's going to be really happy. I think the baby's going to it's going to benefit him in terms of golf.
I still wouldn't be totally shocked if he tees it up somewhere, but to be honest, he'll know what to do.
Yeah, so. I wouldn't have been if someone hadn't already told me that he wasn't planning on it. Like I would have kind of been expecting it almost, but since
maybe the Cowboys have a bye week 1 week, and
things can change too. I mean,
exactly. No, I mean it's not out of the picture.
Things changes, so
yeah.
From what we've heard, it's just unlikely.
Yeah, very unlikely.
But again,
so.
things can change. So
who knows? Maybe he got niched this week and wants to see it back out.
Exactly.
But yeah, you can go with your second question.
So my second question was on the putting, and I gave a lengthy response to why do you think JS is confident over long putts, but appears really shaky with the short ones. And basically, I said a lot of things, but the long putts are more speed-based, not read-based / mental. Exactly. This week, it was kind of not his usual. He usually has very solid speed control. So on the long ones, you're not really trying to make them. You're just trying to judge speed. I know his speed control is a little off this week, but usually his speed control is on, which makes the long ones, they're always in his wheelhouse because he knows how to get the ball close. Regarding the short ones, it's part mental, I said, part bad luck, part stroke. I think he's in his head a little bit, and it's easy to see when he misses a short one early. He misses a short one early, the stroke tends to get off more and more as he goes on with his round. He pushed a few at the Ryder Cup, as Bob said. They were brutal, to say the least. And again, putting, I know the three of us know this, it's a lot of luck. 12 when he was playing with Brooks, I mean, he hit a great putt. It didn't fall, and it really just changed that match.
Yeah.
And then just my last thing on the putting is our standards for Jordan's putting are sky high, as they should be. You look at his stats from last year, he putted well this year. It's just we expect top 5 strokes gained. He wasn't top 5 strokes gained this year. So we just hopefully try and get back to that. But again, our standards are just very, very high.
Well, I'll say this. Jordan Spieth has never been an incredible putter inside of 5-6 feet. Like, that's always been where he struggled in terms of putting. So I don't think he's ever truly been extremely comfortable inside that range. The thing that's more worrying to me than the short ones like that is the 10 to 12 footers, because he used to be deadly from that range along with 35 feet. Because if you can make a lot of 10, 12 footers, you can make up for a few missed short ones. It's tough when you're not making anything. It really is. And I think really, as much as I really thought it's been mental recently, I thought there was a point, maybe a 5-month period over the past year, where he was really good inside of 5 feet and he's lost it. And I don't think it's mental this time. I think he's really not feeling comfortable over the ball. I see him getting in there and he's shaking 7 or 8 times before he takes the putt back. And that's longer than usual. I think his stroke needs work. And I think he put a lot of effort into getting the ball striking back, and it's working, because off the tee is really good right now. It was shaky at the Northern Trust. But that was one bad week, and he hit the ball really well this week off the tee. So it was frustrating as a fan to watch, but I trust that he's going to be fine down the road. I mean, again, as you said, our standards for him are sky high on the greens. So we just got to wait.
He's talked a lot about how he's a very visual putter, right?
Yeah.
Like he likes to see the point where the ball will start to break into the hole and whatnot. And I think on 3 and 4 footers, sometimes he'll try and see break into the putt. He'll try and see a little bit of movement. And then when you're not stroking it the way you want to, it's kind of tough to really trust your reads and your lines, and that makes it tough. But I'm not too concerned long term. He's always been kind of a streaky putter. Like, he has moments where he gets it rolling. Obviously 2019 was kind of a really long moment of where he rolled it really, really well. But that's because he had to.
And again, that's also kind of, I feel like that was also kind of overblown, to the fact that, like, a lot of that was luck. I mean, in 2019, he was making 50 footer after 50 footer after 50 footer, and say what you want, he's always been putting 50 footers to 3 inches. And that year they just all dropped. I mean, and a lot of that's luck.
Well, he also just had a lot of them too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, he couldn't hit the ball.
I think a lot of I mean, he's still the best lag putter I've ever seen. I mean, I would never trust anyone more, like, in my life. Not even from 25 feet, I'd actually be more scared that he'd 3-putt, because he's blasted 6 feet by and missed the comebacker. From 80 feet, if I need someone to put it to inside a foot for my life, I'm picking Jordan Spieth. I mean, his speed control is just ridiculous. I mean, from 100 feet, you can put it to 5. I mean, that's insane. So I'm not worried about his lag putting. I'd be lying if I wasn't saying I'd be a little nervous, because it has been something it's something that's really frustrating, and we want it really badly. We want him to be able to make those 5 footers, because it sucks when he throws away a shot like that. But it is what it is. He'll work on it. We know he will, because he again, as he said, he loves to win and he hates to lose. So for
sure, as frustrated as it can be, he's by far and away more frustrated
Absolutely.
than we are. So
Absolutely.
he knows he'll be grinding this offseason for sure.
That's all I got. So
All
you
right.
want to go ahead, Dan or Bob, and go on your questions? Go ahead.
Yeah. So one asked, did Jordan play poorly this week in quotation marks? I'm gonna say no. I think he had a few bad ones, a few good ones. Overall, I think it was just below average. I don't think it was poor. I think it wasn't his best week, and record-wise, it wasn't great, and he didn't really contribute much to the team at all. But overall, I think he played really well Friday morning. He hit the ball really well. He didn't really make any putts, but he didn't really have many putts. He just missed like one or two that he was given. JT kind of cost him a bit. I mean, he was hitting the ball really well. All week, I thought he was hitting the ball really well. He was throwing a lot of darts this week. I don't know if you remember. I mean, it was dart after dart after dart, and he played the par threes a lot better. But that's my take. I don't think
if
it was
this was a
that
full
bad.
field stroke play event, it's probably a top 20, and we're really excited about the next week because he hit the ball great, and that translates really well.
Agreed.
Right? Like he just didn't make putts this week. His irons were on,
Agreed.
drove it really well. A lot of twirls, not a lot of fours. So, poorly is an overstate. He putted poorly, but he did not play the game of golf poorly.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think he played poorly at all, honestly. I think this week was kind of a lot just like his golf has been past the Open, honestly. Like he's played well, but just not well enough to be close to the leaderboard, the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
He hits some good shots, but then there's some that are like, ugh, like he made a double bogey against Tommy. He lost that one hole on Sunday to bogey. Like he'll hit some really good shots, but just too many inconsistencies sprinkled in. But no, I don't think he played poorly. No.
So ranked the US players 1 through 12, where I did that. Another one, the next one was, did he play poorly? That was the first part of the question. Second one, or did he just run into the brick wall of Rahm? I think Friday morning he did. Saturday afternoon, I feel like they could have won that match. I mean, Spieth made putts. I don't think Rahm was incredible, especially because he completely carried Sergio. It was a 1v2 and they lost.
Also, I'll say one thing about the 4-ball with Brooks though is like Rahm made putts coming down the stretch, so that match Spieth could have won it with his putter. They could have halved it if Rahm was a normal human being, but so there's a little bit of both, right? You just ran into a brick wall, but he didn't take advantage of the opportunities that he gave himself.
Yeah, I don't. The Rahm teams just don't make mistakes either. Like you're not winning a hole with par, so if you're not making putts for birdie, you're not picking up. You're not winning any holes. That's the one thing about playing Rahm.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. How are you feeling about 2022? Good. I'm feeling great. I can't tell you as a fan what was lower than Wingfoot in 2020. I mean, that was horrible. And the fact that in 1 year we've just completely quadrupled that. I mean, we're playing really well. And it's just one part after one part. And we'll get into that with the question I have in the future. But I'm looking forward to it, especially with the, as No Laying Up always says, perspective. He's just going to be, there's something about Jordan Spieth coming back in January, and he's just going to be a very happy man, which goes a long way. So.
The major venues set up well for him. Like even Brookline, I think will be a good spot for a U.S. Open for him. Obviously, St. Andrews is good. Augusta, we know how well he plays there. And Southern Hills in Oklahoma, pretty close to Texas. I've heard it's a really cool course. So hopefully he can complete the slam there. But, like Bob said, I think he'll just be excited to play, right? And I think he still thinks he has something to prove that I know he doesn't like you to use the word back, but I think he knows that he's not quote unquote back until he's got a major in his hands. So he's hungry, and that makes me excited.
Dan's spot on. He's not fully back until he went into the major, and he knows that. I think going into next year, the bare minimum is what he did in 2021.
Yeah.
I just think the biggest thing going into 22 is just learning how to close again.
Yeah.
And to just stop throwing away tournaments. I mean, the Schwab was ridiculous. I mean,
that was annoying.
That should have been a win. The Open probably should have been a win. Pebble, I mean, he's just got to learn to close again. But yeah, I mean, Augusta cannot come soon enough. I think after the Open, finishing second, the way he finished second, playing great on the Sunday, I think he's ready to reclaim his throne. And hopefully come Augusta. I know we got January through March, but I mean, Augusta circled for him and for us for sure.
The next question basically builds right off.
Just one quick question. I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think he'll reach because of the way the OWGR works? Do you think he has a chance to reach number 1 next year?
No. Honestly, I think it'd be unlikely. It's just so hard.
Okay.
He's got to play. I mean, he has to play so well to get up there. I mean, he needs Rahm to fall back.
He's not that type of consistent that you need to be right now. With given how talented, I mean, you have to be top 10ing every week, and Jordan Spieth is going to have stretches like that, but then he's going to have stretches where he doesn't do that, and that's just not good enough to, which is fine. I mean, I don't think. He's got to world number 1, so
It's possible.
It's possible.
He needs a Phoenix to Augusta run again.
He needs regression too from other players.
Yeah,
true, very true. Well, yeah, I guess John Rahm is kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him slowing down, unfortunately.
Yeah. So the next question was, since he won this year, is next year a failure if he doesn't win a major? And I'm going to say no, because, I mean, you look at Patrick Cantlay this year. Was that a good season? Yes. Did he win a major? No. I mean, it depends. It's all situational. I mean, I really want him to win a major, obviously, but I think if we don't win next year, then that's a problem. But
yeah, I say no, but he has to win at least 2 regular events.
Yeah.
I think the bare minimum is what he did in 21. I mean, that's the building block for 2022. So if you can't do at least that, then yeah, it'd be a failure.
Yeah, he's got to capitalize more next year for sure. I don't know if he needs to win a major, but he's got to be there in one though. Like seriously in one.
At least one, really, because I mean this year
on Saturday, Sunday, right? Like, because the Masters he was kind of there, like he was there at the end, but like the Open he was in it, and that's what he's got to be in it for at least one major next year.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so this one I have to actually go back to the DM this person sent me because it was like a bunch of mini questions all put into one. So let's start with, do we have to accept that Jordan's game right now is an on-off switch where there's always something that's missing? And I will say, as frustrating as that is, I mean, that is just the most, I mean, he can never have anything going together, but he only needs to put it together for 1 week to win.
Exactly.
And that's what he did at Valero, and he won. You only need to if you put everything together twice in a year, you win twice. And you can even argue that he put together twice this year and he lost the Open. But most of the time you're going to win if you put together, and you don't have to put together every week. So I'm going to say no. I don't think you have to accept that that's his game, because I don't think that's what he wants his game to be.
I mean, to that person,
I think it's just how golf works. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to that person's question, that's every golfer. That's Rahm too.
Exactly.
When Rahm doesn't win, something is letting him down. It's so difficult to have everything working. And when everything's working, it's a top 3 at that event. It's just, I mean, that's what these guys strive for, is just the consistency to have everything working. It doesn't happen 18 of 20 times or whatever you want to say. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Especially down the stretch this year. I just think he had other things on his mind, and so it's tough to have everything clicking. And he seems like the type of dude to put in a lot of effort and time into something that's not going well, and then put less effort and time into something that isn't going as poorly as the other thing. Like if the putter's going great, he's gonna just whack thousands of golf balls. And it's, that's just like you said, Jordan, and you said, Bob, as well. It's just like, that's just how golf is, right? Not everything's going to be perfect all the time, but the 3.5 to 4 days of 1 week that it comes together, you're golden, so.
Yeah. And the other part of that question is what needs the most fixing? It's his putting. I mean, if he can just make a few more short putts around, then he'll be fine. I mean, simple as that. I don't think it's much more.
Yeah, one more 5-footer around is 4 strokes over a tournament.
Yeah.
Right. Like
because he's missing about one around. I mean, that's at least. Right.
And I know this after the Open wasn't great, but I loved how he was hitting wedges, because I feel like if you're inside of 120 and you can put it to 5-10 feet pretty consistently.
His wedges have improved a lot recently.
Yeah, where the bad shots are 25 feet. That's how you win golf tournaments. So hopefully he can keep that going into the new year.
Yeah. 2 more questions. So this one I got, not only did I get on Instagram, I got 3 different times on my personal DMs, and I will go over it just because it's a little more personal, but it's asking about what happened with me and Spieth Tracker on Twitter this week and why we kind of interacted with each other for the first time. It's pretty simple. We were both rooting for the same team, and we found a few common areas. We both really like Bryson DeChambeau. And it's just, we kind of fed off that, and we were just DMing the entire week because, we all love the Ryder Cup, and it's that simple. It's not, there's not much more to go into it. You can think whatever you want. But it's not that deep. It's not that deep. It's Twitter. So that's really all there is to it. And then finally, this question I thought was really good. One of the best questions I've gotten for one of these is the tourney minimum a worry next year with him not playing at all in the fall? I don't even know what that number is. I think it's like 30 or 25.
I think it's 25, which is a lot.
That's a lot in 7 months.
But I wonder is that still a thing though?
It is.
Do you know?
It is.
Okay. Because I remember, because he was banking on the tour championship being 25.
Yeah.
That 1 year, and then he was like, and then they were like, oh, you have to go to Shriners or whatever and play there.
Yeah. And also, I don't really think it matters because, again, I think he's okay with paying the fine, if that makes any sense. The suspension's really only if you play only like 15, and I think it's like a $15,000 fine, which is not that big for Jordan Spieth. But I think it's interesting because he's going to have to play a new event. But we were talking about this last time, Scottish Open, which will be on his radar, and he's 100%. He basically confirmed it earlier in the year. Which
should have played it this year, but that's
should have played this year. We would. I will stand by the fact that we are the champion golfer of the year if we played the Scottish Open. But
what a doofus.
Yeah. But I think it was a really interesting question because you have to look about how much is he actually going to pay, actually going to play in just 7 months. That's personally, in my opinion, that spring, even Torrey to the PGA is the best stretch in golf. The summer doesn't even compete with that. The spring is the best stretch, and there's going to be a lot of tournaments there. And we saw he only played like 2 tournaments this summer this year, but
it'll be a lot more.
It will be packed in the spring and packed in the summer.
Yeah. So I just did some math, or I counted weeks. It's about 30. It's about 34 weeks, ish, 34, 35.
Taking January 9 weeks off wouldn't be that abnormal.
To the end of the playoffs, maybe add on an extra 36 to be safe, right? So it's like that's kind of tight, right? He can't do what he did this summer.
Just take a month.
Where he didn't play from the Open to, or no, the U.S. Open to the Open, and then the Open to the playoff. Or no, I guess he played FedEx, but still, he just didn't play much this summer. So
well, I think what's the? I mean, you play 3 out of 4 weeks each month, and you still got 2 weeks to spare. So I think you're gonna have probably 2 of those months where you play every week. I mean, he's got that 5-week stretch in early February, and then he's probably got something near that Masters to PGA, Byron Nelson area. I think he'll be fine. I don't think now that I'm hearing it being 34, 36 weeks, I think he'll be fine.
I think he'll be okay. I mean, it could be. Yeah.
But other than that, that should be it. I mean, it feels good to finally have the cup back. But I don't know, let the off season begin, because it is going to be a long time, 100 days as the time we're recording this right now, until the next time Jordan Spieth plays golf, which is like double the COVID layoff. So
thank God for football.
Thank God for football. That's true. Football, at least it'll be football, because during the COVID layoff there was like nothing. But so we'll still be doing podcasts. We're going to try and get a few guests on here this off season. We'll be doing some scheduling stuff. I know we want to talk about a schedule coming up later this off season. We'll get a few guests in here, but we again just want to thank you. I mean, you guys have been pretty awesome. So thank you for the support, not only just here, but especially on our own pages. I know we've been doing pretty well. So it's been a blast.
Cliche, but we are not here without you guys.
Absolutely not. I mean, it's one of those things where we're not doing this so we can listen to ourselves talk. So you guys are the reasons that we're doing this. So thank you.
The sport's been awesome. I know we keep saying that, but it truly has. It's been really
it's blown our minds, really. I mean, we never expected this. So
some of the DMs that we get, I mean, they just make our day.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm actually going to read off the review that I read on Apple, which literally made it brought a smile to my face, which is like ridiculous. But it was there's only been a few episodes, but it was the best golf talk I've heard in years, and my face lit up. I was super happy to hear that, and we're really glad you guys enjoy it, because we love talking about golf. We love talking about Jordan Spieth, so we'll continue doing it. We have probably in the next 2 weeks we'll have something else out, whatever we decide, but we'll figure something out. Let us know, like DM us, tell us what you guys want to see, and we'll try and make it happen. Obviously, if you ask for an interview with Jordan Spieth, we're probably not going to be able to make it happen right now.
We're working on that one.
We're working on it. Future plan. But again, thank you guys very much. But that should be it for the Ryder Cup recap. We did it. We got it back. And this is unfinished business. So
see you in Rome.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
Take care, guys.